friends. Today's episode will conclude the series on Las Vegas and the Moulin Rouge. In the last episode, I gave you some history on the founding of Vegas, its segregation practices, and the opening of the casino. I left off describing how fabulous it was and how the all-black Showgirl chorus line was featured on the cover of Life magazine. Now, I'm going to give you a first-person account of what it was like to work as a showgirl in Vegas and at the casino during the time of segregation by way of a woman named Anna Bailey. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen a few posts about her, but now I finally have the opportunity to go into a bit more detail. Anna not only worked at the Moulin Rouge, she was the first Black woman to work as a dancer on the Las Vegas Strip. Already a well-requested hoofer both in the US and Europe, she first considered working in Vegas due to superstar singer and actress Pearl Bailey's insistence. Pearl was a huge influence on Anna, and they were pretty familiar with each other, with Pearl calling her and her husband Cuz, as in cousin, because they had the same last name, though they weren't related. Pearl liked the young dancer and felt sure she would love Vegas, especially if she worked at the Moulin Rouge. The story goes that Anna and her husband were in Buffalo working with the Clarence Robinson show when Clarence comes in and tells them that they're booked in Las Vegas, but he doesn't give them many details. They accept the gig, deciding to trust Cousin Pearl's advice, and are flown into the city. When they get off the plane, they're given a movie star welcome with photographers crowding the tarmac and everything. They manage to get away from the paparazzi and head to the Strip, where they thought the Moulin Rouge was, but when they turned left and went under a bypass and the railroad tracks, they got a little nervous. But then they saw the Moulin Rouge, and it was beautiful. The inside matched the outside too. It had the best stage lighting and the best room showers in the dressing room, a luxury that was practically unheard of at the time. The atmosphere was welcoming and a stark difference from Las Vegas outside the casino. Anna observed that the environment was fairly hostile, but there were nice people too. She had a few minor problems with the dress shops and such. Shops and theaters were segregated. There were no Black people eating at like the Woolworths counter or anything. But she did her best to steer clear of potential problems. In order to avoid trouble, she paid particular attention to the way she and her husband carried themselves, dressing in their finest of finds when going downtown so they didn't attract any unwanted attention. That said, she did push a few boundaries. She and her husband once went to the Sands for a nice night out, and the doorman tried to refuse them entrance. Lucky for them, Frank Sinatra saw their predicament and personally came and got them and took them to Sammy Davis Jr.'s table. Sammy was mad as hell at the disrespect, but Anna and her husband just laughed it off, thrilled to simply be in the company of such superstars. Sadly, Anna would not remain at the Moulin Rouge for long, as 6 months after it opened, the doors were padlocked and the casino was closed, reportedly for being poorly managed and undercapitalized, and this happened in October of 1955. By December, the owners had filed for bankruptcy. Now, for the mystery/gossip I promised you in the last episode. According to a few former employees, the hotel casino fell on hard times due to being threatened by city commissioners with revoking its gambling license and possible foreclosure for failing to provide financial information to the police department. Others felt that the Moulin Rouge's precedent-setting integration did not sit well with those in power. They thought that its owners deliberately didn't pay creditors after catching flack from businesses whose customers were being siphoned away to the Rouge. Anna thought that maybe the mafia had something to do with the closing. the Moulin Rouge was the only place that did a third show, 2 a.m. All the other hotel casinos did an 8 and a 12, and by 2:30, when the show went on at the Rouge, the strip would empty, which wasn't good for the mafia-entrenched other businesses on the strip. Another dancer, Dee Dee Jasmine, remembered the casino's 3 owners, with briefcases in hand, removing money nightly from a cashier area. She thought that might have something to do with the closing, but all of that is just speculation. There is no official proof to back up any of these suppositions. Fast forwarding to 1960, Black Las Vegans, inspired by the wave of civil rights activism sweeping across the country, threatened to take to the streets and march, unless the city took action to end segregation. In March of 1960, NAACP branch president Dr. James McMillan sent a letter to then Mayor Orrin K. Gregson, giving him 30 days to desegregate the city. If he didn't, the chapter planned a peaceful protest on the strip, calling for blacks to be allowed to enter casinos through the front door. Not wanting to be embarrassed or damage its thriving tourism industry, the city agreed to a meeting. Later that month, days before the planned march, the still-closed Rouge served as the venue for a meeting, which included the NAACP branch president, Nevada Governor Grant Sawyer, and the city's most powerful gaming executives. At the meeting, casino bosses agreed to end their discriminatory practices and allow African Americans to patronize their establishment. On March 26th of 1960, integration officially took place in Las Vegas. Going back to Anna, she was still working in Vegas at that time. She went from the Rouge to the Dunes Hotel, a casino which wasn't as great as the Rouge, but Anna tried to only see the positives. Of those positives, one was the fact that some of her fellow white showgirls were required to mix with the crowd after the show. They'd have to go to the casino and act like they were playing the games at the gaming tables. Because the club was segregated at the time and didn't allow black people on the floor, she didn't have to go through any of that nonsense, and the girls that did were envious that she got to leave early. After her stint at the Dunes, she integrated a show with Pearl Bailey at the Flamingo Hotel and worked there for about 5 years. She and her husband went on to open several successful clubs, and at age 95, she's currently retired and loves to travel the world. While it wasn't open long, the Moulin Rouge remains a vital part of the history of desegregation. Who knows how long it would have taken had the Rouge not opened its doors. Sadly, what remained of the Rouge, once on the National Register of Historic Places, was demolished in 2017 after a fire years earlier had destroyed most of the building. And we're at the end, my darlings. As always, if you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you the Friday after next for a chat about Billie Holiday and her horrible husbands. My whole entire face was like, while researching this, so I do hope I get a chance to share this crazy story with you. See you next time.